Check it out. Tri-Moto 175. Alright, so this is a Yamaha Tri-Moto 175. Pretty cool, 1983 two-stroke. So these were produced from 1982 to 1983, so only for 2 years. So kind of rare. They also made the 200 version, which was 4-stroke, and then I think the 225 version, which was 4-stroke, shaft-driven. These are chain-driven, 2-strokes. They made the 125, I believe, in 1979 and 1980. And maybe 81, if I remember correctly. So this version is kind of the rarest version of them all, the 175, because it was only produced for 2 years. So very cool machine. Yamaha produced this one to compete with the Honda 3-wheeler, and this is what they came up with. Kind of a cool 80s design on it. Very retro. Big balloon tires on it. This one goes flat after pumping it up, so that one definitely needs a tube. But I believe these are the original back tires for this thing. Trail Pro. You can see the sticker on it. Private all-terrain vehicle. Choke up here. It's a little sticky on it. It's got an oil light. Brakes all seem to work. At least pull in. Thumb throttle, run, off, engine switch right up here. Gas tank cap. So the gas tank is in the front of the machine here. And then it does pull over. I don't want to pull it over too much because it hasn't been pulled over in a while. So I want to lube up the cylinder before we go any further. And it does shift. The shift lever is just really loose on here. So we're going to have to fix that. And then this thing also has a back brake right here. Yeah, pretty simple machine. But yeah, for 250 bucks, I don't think it did too bad. So you can see everything's there. Big old pipe on it. Might be plugged up. That probably is plugged up. Looks like the silencer was welded in there at one time. So I'm guessing that's plugged. The guy said that when you were in higher gears, last it was driven, it was kind of boggy in higher gears. So I'm thinking it's probably the pipe, but we won't know until we dig into it. Got an air filter in here. I'm guessing that's full of mice. This thing's been sitting for years outside, so should be a fun surprise in here. This thing's oil injected. So here's the oil tank. Still oil in it. And that's fed down through here. Looks like the oil pump for it is on this side right there. We'll confirm that that's working. And then the oil for the engine is right here. See if there's anything in there. Hard to tell. Good old zip tie dipstick. Oh, looks like newer oil. That's interesting. So oil looks actually really good. Put that back on. So at least there's some in there. So the guy said that this thing hasn't been run in years, so I don't know if it has spark. I don't know if the compression is very good. When I pulled it over, it was kind of tight feeling. So we're gonna lube up the cylinder before we pull it over or attempt to pull it over any more than we already did. You can see the little carburetor in there. I believe that's a Mikuni carb. You can see it right there. Right on the side it says Mikuni. So the stock carburetor still in there, which is good. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty simple machine. Not much going on, simple two-stroke. So I guess we'll begin by getting the air filter off. All right, what do you guys think is in the air box? Doesn't look like it's been open in a while. Find out. Kind of afraid for this one. Whew. Nasty. Definitely a nest in there. Yeah, there's like fur, definitely fur in there. Yum yum. Here's the air filter. Do we dare touch it? Ugh. Yeah, I wonder if the engine's packed full of this too. That's not gonna be good. You can see it goes all the way down into there. No actual mouse, I don't think, just remnants of one. So I'll get this vacuumed out. Hopefully it didn't make it past the carburetor, but the slide was open. Probably did, so. Alright, that's all cleaned out in there. Let's work on getting the spark plug out of here and seeing if we can get this thing to turn over easy. Also, we have to check for spark. See what that looks like. Alright, doesn't look bad. Looks like it was running pretty rich, so I bet it was loading up pretty good. But better than running lean, I suppose. Alright, does it have spark though? That's the question. Doesn't really feel like it's latching in. There we go. Alright, we're gonna get some penetrating oil down the cylinder here. Attempt to pull this thing over. Alright, let's see if she pulls over here. I'm just gonna spray a little bit down here too. Oh, look at the spark. We got spark, it looks like. Oh yeah. It's awesome. We're just gonna pull this thing over a couple times. it nice and lubed up in there. I'm gonna get some oil going to it as well. Alright, so we've got spark, and it feels like we've got at least some compression. So we should be in good shape. Let's get that carburetor off next and see how bad that is. Oh man, that's nasty. What the heck is that? That is really gross. What the heck is that thing? It looks like a brain right there. Ugh. Is that like a dead mouse? Oh, that's pretty gross, I would say. Let's get that vacuumed up. Ugh, nasty, nasty, nasty. Right here is that nasty carburetor. See how it looks on the inside. This one might need the ultrasonic cleaner. We will see. Doesn't look horrible. That oil was definitely protecting it. So that'll clean up pretty good. So luckily it was stored with oil in it. Otherwise that could have been a lot worse. Let's see what we're running for a pilot in the main. Main looks like it's going to be 170 main on this thing. It's pretty big. Get that out of there. Well, everything's like super lubed up in here, which is nice. Everything just comes off really easily. Float. No pinholes in the float. It's good. How does the needle look? Pretty good. See what the air screw looks like here. How many turns out is it? 3/4 of a turn. Not much. Leave that in there. Alright, we gotta get the pilot out. Pilot's down in there somewhere. Hidden by the oil. Little baby Pilot. Looks like it's running a 35 for the Pilot jet here. That's definitely clogged. But yeah, we'll just let this, I think we're gonna let this soak for a little bit. Alright, we got the carburetor back on. I got the air box cleaned out, and we've got some premix going to the carburetor. We still have to check and make sure that the pump and the gas tank are cleaned out before we attempt to add gas to the gas tank. But let's just see if it pops over. I pulled the cord right here, and it's got like crazy good compression, so it should start. We'll choke it up here. Choke lever kind of works, kind of not. There you go. Pretty good. Looking for the headlight switch, can't find one. Alright, so it runs pretty good. Headlight was not working. I don't know if the bulb is in there. Now that I'm looking at it, you can see there, I don't think there's a bulb. And then oil injection was working as well. I put a clear line on it so we can see if it is in fact working when it's running. But it was pumping oil, so I'm assuming it's running. Just put some gas down the gas tank. See if it comes out the other side here. There's a leak coming from somewhere. Let's see here. Looks like gas is coming out. Might be leaking at the petcock or something. Looks pretty clear too. So that's good. You can see it's leaking from the petcock here. So let's get the tank off and try to get that fixed. It looks like it's leaking from, looks like it might be leaking from up at the top, up here. Hard to tell. Alright, we got the plastics off right there. Tank is held on by the strap, it looks like. And then it looks like it goes to a fuel pump right there. So it goes in right there, up there, and then comes out through here. It looks like there's a vacuum line right here going to the side of the cylinder. right there. So pretty simple pump setup here. But you can see it's still leaking pretty good. Alright, so here's the gas tank. It's actually split in two and connected by a line right there. And there's breathers at the top connected to each other. So kind of a weird design. And then it kind of just hugs the frame. So very strange. We are going to get this petcock off and see what's going on with that. She's a little crusty. A little crusty. Yeah, so this gasket right there, that's the one that goes bad. So hopefully I have something I can use in there. Have a weird gasket. Alright, we've got a brand new O-ring on there. Looking good. I cleaned out the bowl down here as well. New gasket in here. So we should not have any more leaking. I wouldn't think. Let's get this back on here. Let's see which way does this go. I think it goes this way. Alright, let's see if that does the trick. No leaking yet. That cock isn't leaking a drop anymore. It's working perfect. You can see that's all hooked up. Everything is working good. So now we can start working on the shifter. So this thing is like really loose on here, and it goes down to back here. You can see it moving. So that lever's loose too. I think it's like stripped out. But all these joints are like, there's just a ton of play in these joints and stuff. So like right here, you can see it's really loose right there too. So we gotta get this cover off back here, and I'll show you guys a little shifter mechanism. Let's try to get this back wheel off here. There we go. A little wobbly. Alright. Now we're in here. You can see the chain and the sprocket actually look really good. So it's not too bad. But this is the part we're looking for right here. The shifter shaft right here. You can see it's kind of like stripped out right there. This is a ton of play in there. So let's try to get that off and see what's going on with that. Alright, so I got the shifter mechanism off. You can see the teeth are still fine in there. It's just like a little bit rounded out, you can see. But the teeth are still on there. Then the shaft, same thing. The shift shaft looks fine. Hard to see down there. But yeah, the shift shaft still has its teeth, so what I might do is make that gap a little bit bigger. So take a Dremel, cut a little bit bigger gap so that I can pinch a little bit further down. So right now I see that gap, it's not very big. So I'll make the gap bigger and then that should work. Alright, so I actually used a hacksaw and cut a very thin strip out of there. Now that can be pinched a lot tighter on the shaft. Alright, check that out. No play in there anymore. Grabs. Check up here. Not as much play. I think the play is coming just from right there now. But it'll shift now. It's grabbing at least. So that's good. Alright, notice the chain was pretty loose on here. So we gotta tighten that up somehow. Alright, chain is all good to go. I had to put a brand new chain on there because the other one was way too loose. And I backed up the axle all the way back and it was still loose, so I just put a new chain on there. And now we're going to do the oil change. A 17mm bolt underneath the engine here. See what the oil looks like. Hopefully we don't have any transmission issues here. But it does shift now into gear with that lever. So we're all good there. Metal shaving in there. You can see some metallic flakes going on, so that's not good. Not good at all. Alright, this is what the oil looks like. Let's just kind of see if there's any metal chunks in there when we pour it in. Just metallic-y flakes. So no big chunks or anything. Something's definitely grinding. But at least there's no big chunks or anything missing out of the transmission. So let's get some fresh oil in there. It takes 850 milliliters. Alright, that's good. Alright, this thing is ready to ride. Let's go test drive it and let's go see if we can kill ourselves on it. I think it's pretty sweet. We'll see if that transmission works. Hopefully it does. Alright, made her out here. We'll see if she rides today. We know she starts. Does she move? That's the question. Alright, we gotta pump up that tire here. Actually, it's pretty pumped up right now. Let's get her fired up. Alright, let's start this thing up. My tire's losing air. Oh, I'm in gear. There we go. So far it's working pretty well. Shifter works. Brakes both work. We're in second gear right now. See if we pop it into third here. This thing's awesome. Hard to stay on. It's wanting to tip that way. That's that wheel. I should probably pump her up. Hard to steer. Oh, this is like impossible on the road. Definitely need some new tires. I'm not going full throttle with this thing. It's too sketch. That back tire's flat already. Uh-oh. It's really flat. I think it's gonna come off. It's super flat. If I lean more this way, maybe. Alright, well, runs good, drives good. The clutch was slipping maybe a little bit in high gear, but wasn't that bad. Obviously the tire needs to be changed out right here, but that's really the only main issue with it. Could use a seat cover as well. But yeah, runs, drives, that was the goal, and it's a pretty cool machine. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. Until next time, we are out.